So I'm interested in how to mitigate the stress of excessive flooding that sea level rise will have on low marsh plants. Those low marsh plants are the ones that are the most threatened by sea level rise. This stress can reduce plant growth. So by adding sediment and increasing the elevation of the marsh surface, I hope that plants will be less stressed and be able to survive better. So some of the things that I look at are plant growth. So how are the shoots of the plants and the roots of the plants responding to the different levels of sediment that I'm adding? And then I also am looking at different soil chemistry. So oxygen in the soil, how are the soil microbes responding, and organic matter decomposition. Looking at these parts of the marsh because they play really important roles in carbon cycling, and carbon cycling and carbon sequestration is really important for mitigating climate change. My experiment will be adding 3 different levels of sediment addition to the marsh surface. So 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters, including a control, which will have 0 centimeters. And I will be placing the sediment in the marsh in plot enclosures that are 1 by 1 meter squared, little wooden frames that allow water to move through but keep the sediment in place. In these wooden frames, I will be collecting soil cores that are 5 centimeters wide, and as deep as the sediment treatments are that I have applied. From those soil cores, I will also be collecting root biomass, separating the roots from the soil so I can look at soil chemistry and that I can also measure the below ground roots. I will also be measuring the above ground plant shoots by counting the number of stems in my plot and how tall each stem is. With this experiment, I really hope that I can inform restoration projects that can use this sediment for saving coastal wetlands by finding that Goldilocks sweet spot. How much sediment is too much, and how little is not enough that will maximize the benefit for these plants. So that if we can utilize restoration techniques to help improve or jumpstart some ecosystem processes, such as carbon sequestration, we can use green solutions to help mitigate climate change. I'll be working with the local yacht club in Guilford, Connecticut DEEP, which is the Department of Environmental Protection, Energy and Protection, and the Fish and Wildlife Service to determine if the yacht club can use their dredged material, locally dredged sediment material, as a sediment source to implement some of these restoration techniques. And if the responses can be helpful in protecting a habitat for the salt marsh sparrow, which is a threatened salt marsh bird. Some parting words that I have for you is that ultimately you have the power to do anything that you want to do, that no goal is too small, and especially when it comes to finding solutions to climate change. Every day that you have is made up of a bunch of different small decisions, and those small decisions add up and end up shaping our lives. So if we take the time to ask good questions, ask bad questions, ask ugly questions, and help inform society to make better decisions, then ultimately we can create the world that we want to live in. So I don't think it's too late for anything. Science is just our way to ask those questions and help find those answers with the best available information that we have. So everyone's doing their part, asking these different questions, and they all come together to provide the best solutions. I think that being a scientist is really not for any one type of person. It's really for everybody because it affects everybody really heavily. So everyone's diverse experiences are really important in order to create, encourage and inform this greater body of knowledge and seeking this knowledge. But you don't necessarily have to be a scientist to help inform those decisions. You can make a difference just by being very informed about some of these topics, especially climate change, making sure that you can get involved, that you support good science that can get implemented into policy and change on the ground. And also understanding what's at stake and knowing how this can really affect you, everyone around you. This isn't a isolated thing, it's an everybody thing. So there's no such thing as a stupid question. Thanks.